And just
You are now entering Armbar Audio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Armbar Audio. I'm your host, Tim Farley, and next to me is my trusty companion,
John Kearns. What's up, everybody? Today, we're joined by a very special guest. We are joined by none other than of AEW Dark and Dark Elevation and New Japan Strong. It is the one and only, the radioactive puppy, Danny Limelight.
Mi gente, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me on the show. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for this one, man. Great introduction. And yeah, man, what's good with you? I love the Brody Lee shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is the one that EC3 was promoting from a different artist. And just I have a shit ton of shirts.
Yes, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Did you have any experiences with him?
No, I only met him one time. It was my first time there when I made my debut. I ran into him at the gym, said what's up. He said hi. He's a great dude, man. You could just tell he was a good person. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to work with him or really get to know who he was. I have, on the other hand, though, got to know -1, got to spend some time with -1, some laughs. Even in the ring, I've been in the ring a few times and, -1 was ringside. But this last time, I wrestled Eva Uno and then, I got to embrace a hug with little Brody. He fist bumped me and picked me up after the match and gave me a hug. And, it was just awesome, man. There was a really good picture taken of it. And, yeah, man, it's just little Brody, man. He's going to be a huge star one day. He loves his business, and I just wish I had more time to get to know his father.
He really is. I mean, he's gonna be a mega star. I made a tweet today. Somebody had posted kind of a promo that he did, like a little text block for a promo that he did, talking about how he's not going to stop doing this. He's going to do it. He's wanted to do it since he was 1, which how could you know that you were 1? But it's just awesome to hear, and about how he's going to keep his dad's spirit alive and everything. And what I said was, there's people that say that they hate this and say it's exploitation, but you cannot deny that this kid has a passion for the business.
Yeah, and if it was exploitation, wouldn't Amanda have an issue?
Exactly. Before we get into the bulk of the interview, we want to, of course, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
First of all, we do a little bit of research before we do interviews like this, so I know. Huh?
I said, thank Christ.
So I know that you joined the Marines at 17 and served for 10 years, right?
Yes.
That's pretty wild. That's a pretty
big part
to
of
me. It's a scary thing because I know you and me are the same age. You were born in 91, so you only got out of that two years ago.
Yeah, it would be 2 years in October.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's man, it was a big part of my life. It was basically my late teenage adulthood years. It was all Marine Corps stuff, traveling around, workups, trainings, deployments, humanitarian missions, things like that. It was an experience like no other, though. I wouldn't change it for the world. It definitely made me who I was. So, the best decision that I ever made was joining.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pro wrestlers, people that get into pro wrestling that are ex-military people or veterans. So it's really cool to see. The next thing I got here, I found out in one of your interviews that as a kid you were really into baseball and boxing.
Yes.
So what kind of led to that?
Well, I mean, in New York City, Puerto Rican, we played sports. Baseball was a thing. My dad was my youth sports coach for 4 years. He coached me and my friends because when we first went out for tryouts, we weren't good to make any team. No team. It was me and 7 of my other friends, so a total of 8 of us. None of us made any teams. we weren't good enough. And so, my dad being the rock star father that he is, he, took time out of his summers to, volunteer as a coach, man. He paid the manager fees, made a team. We were called the Titans. And we were the Titans for 3 years, and then we were Los Lobos, the Wolves, for the 2 years after that. So it was 5 years. It was from 7 to 12. I played baseball at Lindsay Park with my friends. And, from being basically Bad News Bears, we couldn't play, to winning championships, and going far in those little leagues. It was a great time. And then the boxing stuff, my dad put me into it when I was young as well. We used to get all the fights. We used to watch all of Tito Trinidad's fights. We used to watch all of, De La Hoya's fights, Miguel Cotto's fights growing up. Pretty Boy Floyd back in the day, it was Pretty Boy Floyd, so boxing was always on at our house. So I boxed as a kid as well. And then I played baseball in high school. But I had gotten into a lot of trouble in school. So I couldn't play baseball my senior year because I had gotten kicked out of 2 schools. And my third school was like, you're a senior already. We already have our team. So sorry, can't play, which makes sense. So, I ended up joining the Marine Corps. And I did a lot of training in the Marine Corps. I did boxing in the Marine Corps as well. I did a few fights in Okinawa, Japan. And, it was.
That's where my grandfather was stationed during the Korean War. Okinawa.
Wow. Okinawa, beautiful. I love Okinawa. I lived there for 2 years, and I had an amazing time, amazing experience.
That's wild, man. He never really talked about it, but
the Korean War was.
He was a man of few words. You know what I mean? Like,
you had Pusan, Incheon, Chosin Reservoir. It was no joke back then.
So, son of a bitch. I was thinking while he was talking, and now that just threw me off. Shit. Go ahead, John. I'm gonna get it back.
All right, I'll give her my next thing here.
No. I got it. I got it.
Okay.
So you're from Brooklyn. You're Puerto Rican. Gotta ask you, who are some of your favorite rappers?
Big Pun, Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z, Fabulous. Who else? I love Drake now. Drake's like my guy. Person I listen to the most right now is Drake. I like Lil Baby too right now. But back in the day, it was Big Pun, Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z. Fabulous was a guy. Dipset was a thing in New York City back in the 2000s. Dipset was big.
You ever listen to Joel Ortiz?
Oh yeah, of course. Slaughterhouse. Them dudes, mostly not for their mainstream stuff though. Mostly for their freestyles and their mixtape
stuff. Yes, exactly. Their album music never hit like their mixtape shit.
Yeah, the album stuff never worked for me with Slaughterhouse, but all their mixtape shit, heavy. Even their Freestyle Friday shit they used to do on the basement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Joel Ortiz was a monster, man.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that like immediately hit me when he was talking about Brooklyn and you're Puerto Rican and everything. Right. So like,
that's cool that you do that, man. A lot of people don't know about Slaughterhouse like that, man.
Oh, I'm huge. I listened to Crooked Eye whenever he was doing the hip hop weeklies where he would take like a popular song and just like mixtape it and kill it. And
that's why I like Fabulous too, because Fabulous did the same thing. He dropped his mixtapes to No Competition mixtapes, and Freestyle Fridays and stuff like that. So I like Nas as well. Nas was another one that I used to listen to. And
he's a goat. You know what I mean? He's one of the goats.
Back in the day, rest in peace to DMX. He was another one I was listening to. Yeah, man, those are my peoples. A lot of people don't know this, but I used to also listen to a lot of Big L. A lot of people.
I was just gonna ask you. When you were done talking, I was gonna say, what do you think about Big L? Because a lot of people don't know about him.
Yeah, he was.
He died early, didn't he?
Yeah, he died. He got killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a lyrical.
Put it on, Big L. Put it on.
He said, "Mad hoes, ask Beavis, I get nothing but head." I was
like, exactly, dude. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So, playing off the where you're from and everything, I have to ask you: did you have any type of relationship with Santana and Ortiz before coming to AEW?
Before coming to AEW, no. So what happened was, at the time, Chris Dickinson was part of Team Filthy. And he knew I was going over to AEW, and he was boys with obviously Santana and Ortiz for a while.
Team Pazuzu.
Yeah, Pazuzu. Yeah, so he had hit them up, let them know I was coming. So when I got there, they showed me mad love, man. Yo, matter of fact, man, now that you mentioned Santana and Ortiz, I wanna give a shout out to my homie Santana. You know what I'm saying? Born Nasty.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, go check out his, new clothing line that just dropped. He got another drop coming this week. So shout out to Santana Ortiz. Those are my boys. They showed me mad love, man. I got mad love for them cats. I had took Ortiz. We went to the gun range. We went shooting and stuff like that. I was showing him some shit. We shot a few cool guns, man. But those my dudes, man, for sure.
Yeah, we actually interviewed them. It's the lost interview, actually, because it was in our infancy. And we didn't hit record.
Yeah.
We were just so excited. It was right after they left Impact and before AEW was called something, a thing. And we got to talk to them. And they just seemed like really good guys. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask about that.
Yeah, they're great, man. I love those dudes, for real. They know it's all love over here, man. We had some fun times out there in Florida. So
that's awesome.
Very cool. So, playing off. Oh,
hold on. I just thought. Speaking of Team Filthy, man, like how has the experience been in New Japan Strong? Whenever I watch New Japan Strong, I feel like there's everybody talks about these forbidden doors, and I feel like New Japan Strong, ROH, and a bulk of talent from the AEW YouTube shows are converging right there.
So, New Japan Strong is an amazing place to wrestle. I made my debut a year ago, and, I've been a mainstay on that show weekly for the better part of a year, Team Filthy, at least a member of Team Filthy is on at least almost every week. I think we're the hottest faction on the show. I think we're the hottest thing we're definitely the hottest faction on the show. Absolutely. And I think we're definitely the best thing on the show. Maybe people may think otherwise, but when you look at Team Filthy, you look at me, Tom Lawler, Kratos, we had Dickinson, we kicked his punk ass out. And like when you're looking at Team Filthy and what we're doing, man, we're building. Tom Lawler's the first and only longest reigning New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong open weight champion. You know what I'm saying? So we're really doing a damn thing, and it's amazing. You talk about the forbidden door, man. You're right. There's been a lot of people going back and forth, and I'm a forbidden door walker myself. So
yeah, exactly.
I think there was 1 week where I was on Elevation, Dark, and New Japan Strong in the same week, and I think I had main evented Elevation against John Moxley on the Monday, and main evented on New Japan Strong that Friday with Team Filthy. So
my God, you're working the Rick Rude schedule.
That's fucking awesome, dude. But yeah, so like I look on Cage Match a lot to see like where you've been and everything.
And that shit's so outdated, bro.
Yeah,
it really is.
Right.
It's missing so much of my information. It don't got the right finishing moves on there.
Yeah.
Championship. It don't have none of that shit.
I mean, not for nothing. I'm not trying to start anything, but they still have Chris Dickinson listed as part of Team Filthy.
Yeah. So I take that shit because he ain't part of Team Filthy.
So I was gonna ask if it's correct. You haven't been to Japan, right?
No. I lived in Japan. I was in the military.
Right.
I never wrestled in Japan.
Yeah. But Japan came to you in the form of Konosuke Takashita, who is the ace of DDT. Ace. I would say he's the ace. How was that experience? Like, I'd imagine it was a big deal because a lot of people, a lot of smarks, we were like, oh my God, it's Takashita on Dark. And you had the pleasure of not only wrestling him once, but twice. Yes. So how was that experience for you?
Well, first, I'm going to say that Konosuke Takeshita is a phenomenal wrestler. He's 100% the ace of DDT Pro, in my opinion. And after stepping into the ring with him, I see why. First, it was like an amazing experience just wrestling somebody from another promotion that came in on what do they call it? What's the word, man? When they're like excursion.
Yeah, excursion. Yeah.
So and then when AEW gave me the honors to step into the ring with him, it meant a lot to me, because they could have put him in there with anybody, you know what I'm saying? Right. And they chose me both times, right? So first of all, it's my favorite match I've ever had. Hands down, it was my best match ever. And it was great. It should have main evented the show.
I agree.
That singles match with him should have main evented the show. It received a lot of buzz online. A lot of people were talking about it. And then the next week, I'm wrestling him again. It was me and the Seidel brothers against him and Kenny Omega and Nakazawa. That was another fun one. It was great, man. He's a great dude. He's actually a really good friend of mine. We talk all the time now. We've been able to bury the hack shit and just be friends.
Yeah.
And we're talking a lot, man. And he's doing great things out there. And he always checks in and see how things are over here. And I can't wait to see him back stateside.
I agree.
Very cool.
I agree. And I would like to see some AEW members, including yourself, show up in DDT. That would be rad. But
man, I was actually, a lot of people know this, but the DDT Pro 24/7 heavy metalweight champion. I actually held that belt for about 45 minutes or so.
That shit is crazy.
As Spider-Man at a comic convention.
That's awesome.
Hey, speaking of Spider-Man, that was something I was going to talk to you about. I know
Homeboys.
Oh yes,
huge
massive Marvel fan, but
especially
I'm a fan of DC and then a fan of Marvel and then a fan of Spider-Man. So right. So I know
you get my nickname then. You get Radioactive Pop.
Of course. I knew it from the tattoo, brother. I knew it from the tattoo, brother.
Oh, you knew it from the tattoo?
Yeah, I knew it from the tattoo.
New Radioactive Popper t-shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com/Danny Limelight. Me gente, go pick one up. Sorry, had to do a cheap plug.
That link's going to be in the description, dog.
Yeah, we're going to have your links in the description.
Absolutely.
But yes, you were saying, huge Spider-Man
fan. So gotta ask the question: best cinematic Spider-Man?
Tom Holland.
Thank you. Anybody?
But I will say that Spider-Man 2 was the best Spider-Man film ever.
With fucking Alfred Molina.
Yeah. Not counting Into the Spider-Verse because it's a cartoon.
Oh, Into the Spider-Verse is so good. I can't wait for Spider-Verse 2.
I can't wait for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, absolutely.
We're gonna get the multiverse finally.
Yeah, my niece loves Spider-Man as well. We took her to we have the Steel City Con that hits here 3 times a year. And our whole goal was to find Spider-Man cosplayers. So
she was kind of cosplaying as him too.
Yeah, she had the little shirt on. She looks so cute. It was so funny. But yeah. So Radioactive Poppy, with the radioactive part is Spider-Man, of course. So I love that you said Tom Holland because there's people that say Andrew Garfield, and it's
he's horrible.
I think he had potential, but
he had potential, but man, Tom Holland is Spider-Man.
I think Tom Holland's a great successor to Tobey Maguire. I mean, I'm a little older than both of you, so I grew up with the Tobey Maguire movies, and he was very good. But Tom Holland, he solidified himself in that Avengers movie.
Oh yeah,
when he with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my God,
sure. And I can't wait to see the interaction between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland because even though it hasn't been announced, we all know he's going to be in the film.
Oh, he absolutely is.
So,
I mean, it's pretty, and it's confirmed that Alfred Molina is going to reprise.
Yeah. Because they're doing Sinister Six. They're doing Sinister Six. It's going to be amazing. I just want to throw my name in the hat now. When they start casting, Miguel O'Hare for Spider-Man 2099. They need to come pick me.
Let's go.
Hey, you could do it, man. You springboard off them ropes and you play on them ropes as good as Grand Metalik and El Phantasma, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
It's so funny when you watch so much wrestling. You could put into little categories. Who's the best at these little things?
Yeah.
But yeah, you walk those ropes and hit those ropes really, really nicely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So, homeboy told me, your homeboy.
I'm homeboy.
Yeah. That you don't remember a time you didn't want to be a pro wrestler. So, who or what instance, like led you to it, or who are some wrestlers or storylines that just really stood out to you? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I got hooked into wrestling 1997 Bad Blood, Michaels and Taker at Hell in a Cell. But I think the people that made me fall in love with it was The Rock. He was my favorite growing up as a kid. Just his mic work, his electricity. When he was in the ring, you hear "If you some," you knew it was gonna be lit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if he had a microphone in his hand, you was gonna laugh. And then the Poppy part of Radioactive Poppy comes from Eddie Guerrero.
Right.
Eddie Guerrero, and it comes from obviously my Puerto Rican heritage, just being a papi with the sazon. So Eddie Guerrero was the next one for me after The Rock left. Eddie was the guy that kind of became my favorite, and then when he passed away, that's when I stopped watching wrestling. I didn't watch wrestling again until 2014, which is when I started training to become a wrestler. So I took about a good 10-year break. I missed all the fandom from and the buzz of CM Punk. I missed all those crazy storylines. I missed the Nexus stuff. I missed the beginning of the Shield. I missed a lot of stuff. I missed the Hall of Pain. It wasn't until I started training to be a wrestler. I turned on Raw the next week when I started training, and Seth Rollins ended up turning on the Shield, and immediately I was a Seth Rollins fan. I started on all of Seth Rollins and stuff. Then I started learning about New Japan. I started learning about Ring of Honor. I started going back and watching Impact and learning about independent wrestling. Who were the guys? I started watching Lucha Underground. I started, becoming a huge fan of Rick.
So good.
It was Prince Puma at the time, but it was Puma, Phoenix and Penta. Those were the guys that I was watching on Lucha Underground. And then, Phoenix and Penta are two of my best friends in the business. So shout out to Phoenix and Penta.
That's awesome, dude.
But it's awesome when you look at the wrestling, how much it's evolved since then. And I'm just happy to be part of, the Latino culture that's putting on.
I agree.
That's awesome. You briefly mentioned the Hall of Pain. Have you had any brushes with Mark Henry since he's appeared at AEW?
I just introduced myself to him when he came, and we just had a small little conversation, nothing major. Haven't really had a chance to really sit down and talk to him. He's been pretty busy. But I'm excited to see what he does at AEW.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He's going to be part of Rampage, we know. I'm sure you're going to be involved with that, right? Do we really know what Rampage is yet?
Has he gotten the picture?
Who's that?
Have you gotten the picture online? The official is All Elite?
No.
Fuck that. That's what needs to happen.
I'm a free agent, baby.
Yeah. Hottest free agent.
Hottest free agent.
Yeah. So, we see you on New Japan Strong. We see you on AEW. What are your goals? Short term and ultimate goals.
I mean, honestly, I want to be a champion. I want to be a household name. I want to be a superstar. But I just want to continue to grind. I want to continue to have the best matches possible, wherever that may be, whether it's at New Japan, whether it's at AEW, whether it's, Impact, Ring of Honor, MLW, WWE. It could be anywhere, AAA. I don't care. I just want to continue to grind, continue to work. I love the process of grinding. I trust the process of grinding. I do believe that all the hard work that I put in this last year has been taken notice by the right people.
Absolutely.
I just want to continue to go out and continue to put my best foot forward, Short-term goals, same thing, just grinding. And obviously long-term, I do have a foot in the door at Hollywood. I do love to, do the acting, the writing and producing, the stunt work. So I want to do a lot more of that. Obviously, continue to be an amazing father to my daughter and setting the example for her. So it's all a process. It's all a grind, and I'm here for it, man. I ain't in no rush to go anywhere.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I didn't know you were a father. Kudos. Who have you not worked with that you would want to work with, or you think you would gel with in the ring?
My number one right now, somebody that I've never worked that I want to wrestle is Pac. He's my number one. I would say Will Ospreay when he gets better. Jay White is up there as well. If there was ever a way, Ricochet, Buddy Murphy.
Yes.
And
Buddy Murphy is a free agent now, so
JT Dunn.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Not a lot of people talk about him anymore.
That's my dude, man.
I thought he was gonna explode like 3 years ago or so.
So too. He was wrestling everybody. He was wrestling all the guys.
Yeah, and he was like, wasn't he kind of like Chris Hero's protege or something?
Yeah, they were tag team, Death by Elbow.
Yeah, and then like now he's just still in the Northeast, and I don't understand why.
He's great, man. A lot of people need to start looking up JT Dunn.
I agree. So you got anything else? Anything else you want to ask? Because, man, I feel like we covered everything, bro.
Yeah,
well, we covered the basics. That's about all we got for like major podcast stuff. So let's wrap it up. Let's see, what is a dream match for Danny Limelight? Anybody, living or dead?
Oh man, 1-on-1 with Eddie Guerrero, man. That would be my dream match. If it was any way to ever.
What I was expecting.
Eddie Guerrero for sure would be the one, or The Rock will be another one. The Rock at Madison Square Garden would be, a dream match. Yeah, man. Those would be the two off the top of my head.
Nice.
Absolutely.
It's a little funny to me before you mentioned that when you weren't watching wrestling, you missed CM Punk and everything. This guy had a similar time that he wasn't watching wrestling where CM Punk is actually what brought him back.
Yeah, actually, what brought me back was Benoit. When the tragedy happened, me and my friends, we didn't know what happened yet. It was the first night, and we started reminiscing about wrestling, and then we bought WrestleMania 1 through 10 and the Bret Hart DVD, and then we were starting to watch the current product. Then I started realizing the kind of wrestling that I always gravitated towards, and I would go on YouTube, and I found ROH, and I found Dragon Gate USA, and all that stuff. But I was a huge Punk fan. But then that led me to losing over 100 pounds and getting accepted into wrestling school.
Awesome.
But speaking of, so you were talking about training and all that. You're from Brooklyn, but a lot of your indie work has happened in California. Where did you train, and how did you end up in California?
Well, I never trained in Brooklyn. I never wrestled in Brooklyn until later years. The Marine Corps took me to Cali. I studied in Cali, fell in love with California.
Okay.
And I started training at a school in California, which I'm not going to mention because they ended up kicking me out of the school and telling me I'll never wrestle again. So the joke's on them,
Seems like they weren't exactly correct about that.
It didn't age well for them. but, so I didn't have no place to really train. So I kind of just learned by wrestling, wrestling some of the best in the world in my early career. And then, taking a 2-year break and coming back and then getting right back into it with some of the best and people that were, on the verge of getting signed and things like that. So it's been, most of my learning has come from really wrestling the TJ Perkinses, the Rocky Romeros, the John Moxleys, the Kenny Omegas, the Matt Seidels, those guys that I've been in the ring with. And then, my lucha stuff, I trained with Mariachi Loco and Lil Cholo. They were the Rabbit Tribe and Lucha Underground. Those are my boys. They're the ones that really helped me take my game to the next level.
We just saw them when we were doing research for that Gold Coast Federation.
Yeah.
And I was like, who are those dudes? They look familiar.
Yeah.
They were in Lucha Underground, yeah.
Yeah, they were in Lucha Underground. Little Cholo was originally Mr. Cisco. And they were with Big Rick was his name, I think it was. Ricky Reyes was their partner.
Yeah. And then there was the White Rabbit. That was
the White Rabbit,
Cross,
now
Carrion Cross.
Carrion, yep. So they're the guys, you know, and Mariachi Loco was one of the I can't remember what they were called, but the disciples of Muertes or so whatever. They were Mil Muertes' disciples. They won the trios tag team titles. They wore the masks. He was one of those guys.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
because Lucha Underground was more like a show than with wrestling than a wrestling.
Yeah, it was
show.
great.
It was so awesome. It was so yeah.
I wanted to be a part of it so bad.
I wish it would have stuck around, but luckily for Lucha Underground fans, some type of iteration of it is coming to MLW.
Yeah, because
they hired that actor.
Yeah,
he's kind of reprising it. What's his name? Well, on there,
Dario
it's
Cueto?
not.
Yeah,
but he's not Dario Cueto now because you know I guess El Rey or whoever owns that stuff, but.
Well,
he has a new name. He's talking about having a temple and he made a sacrifice of Selena Del Renta to build this temple. They're coming back in July, but hopefully we get to see you there.
Hopefully, you never know. But thank you guys, man. I really appreciate you guys, you know, bringing me on the show. This was a fun interview. We talked about a lot of things that I've never talked about before on the podcast. You know, the music.
That's what we try to do.
It was a great time. For everybody listening, thank you guys for tuning in to these guys' amazing show. They're putting in the work. Keep supporting them. Keep tuning in. And for everybody, you know, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Danny Limelight. You know, ProWrestlingTees.com/Danny Limelight, Cameo.com/Danny Limelight. I'm not hard to find, man. Mi gente, we need to do this again. We need to follow up in a few months, see where we're at in life. And
let's do it.
Man, let's keep in touch, man.
Hell yeah, Danny. All right. You have a great day today.
Thank you,
too,
Danny.
guys.
Thank you for doing it. So that was our interview with Danny Limelight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We enjoyed doing it, and we enjoyed watching him on AEW and New Japan Strong, as should you. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, noon, or night, you have a great one, and peace and love to all of you.
Bang! Bang.